welcome to Tutorials with Tori. And today I'm going to be showing you how to make this fun snow cone wreath. Now this wreath is made using only your hands, no needles or crochet hooks needed. All you're going to need is one ball of snow cone and a styrofoam wreath form. Now the one I'm using today, this is 16 inches and that will use exactly one ball of snow cone. So you can definitely use a smaller one and you'll need less yarn for that. Or if you do use the bigger one, be sure to have an extra ball of snow cone on hand. Now today I'm going to be using lemon, and for the one that I've already got made for this one, it's kind of hard to get this guy, the whole thing in the shot, but I'll have a picture of it so you can see the whole finished thing later. But this one was done in green apple. All right, so we are ready to get started. I've got my wreath form and my yarn ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to start just by making a slip knot. Now for this I like to leave an extra long tail because what we're going to do, we're going to make that into a loop so we can hang our wreath later. So we'll start here with a slip knot. So we've got our slip knot. Now we're going to tie a loop for hanging the wreath. So I like to take it around, make a double knot so this ends up right next to our slip knot. And you want to leave a tiny bit of a tail on this so later we can weave that in. I'll just tie it around one more time. So it looks a little strange now. We've got our big loop for hanging and our slip knot. So this is kind of how you should orient it. You'll have your large loop with its little end that we are going to just work right underneath, and then our slip knot, and then this is our working yarn coming off the ball. So how we're going to do this, and this is really easy, we're basically just tying little knots around our wreath as we go along. So as you can see, I've got the end laid here. Now if you're having trouble, or especially if you're working with kids on this, getting started, like the first couple knots are a little wobbly, it's a little slippery. But what you can do to make it easier to ensure that you're going over this end, just take a little piece of Scotch tape or something like that. Just tape this guy down, because what we're going to do is, so I've got my finger just holding this knot open here, and here is my yarn. What we're going to do is reach into the center of the wreath, grab this, and pull it through. And then we're going to take that through our slip knot, that loop. So now we've got another loop. And now this is kind of partially through. So we're just going to go back through. And you just keep working like that. And as you can see, I'm working over my little end here, just reaching into our wreath. So you are just going to keep doing that, pulling the yarn through and then pulling a loop through the loop that you're holding with your fingers. Now, to keep a nice consistent look, you just want to make sure that it's nice and smooth against the wreath form, and that you could see here that they're all lined up nicely. And what you can do later, after you get a little bit on, you can kind of scrunch them together to make sure everything fits well. Because what we're going to do after we're done is we're going to push this to the center. So you can see here we've got this nice braided look of all our little slip stitches that we're doing. That'll be right on the front of the wreath. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to go almost completely around and show you how we finish this off. All right, as you can see here, I am almost back to the beginning, and this is what I mean. You can kind of scrunch this up to make sure your wreath is nice and full and all those areas are filled in so you don't have any styrofoam showing through. So I'm gonna do these last few here. So again, we're just wrapping around and pulling through our loop. And what I'm going to do now is take our loop and drape it over my hand so we can secure this a little better. And we're going to go right over that. And we are really close to the end, so I'm going to do one more just to fill that in nicely. And now that we're ready to fasten this off, we're just going to cut this yarn and pull it through. Okay, now I have my scissors, so we can cut the yarn, and we are going to pull it through. And then I'm just going to double check, make sure everything is lined up nicely, because then what we want to do is pull this back through one of the knots on the top, and just using our hands, so you can see we've got our loop here for hanging. We've got this, and then what we're going to do now is just feed this end underneath and back through the loops, so you can just kind of work it in wherever to kind of hide it and secure it. And then you are all set. So you can, once you have this secured, you can cut that, and then it just is a matter of arranging the stitches on the front to your liking. I like them all nice and centered in the middle, so you could see that braid all around the front edge. And this wreath is great for anyone, whether you know how to crochet, knit, or none of the above. It's also great for kids, especially with the smaller wreath forms. They make them down to, I believe, 8 inches. And like I said, this one is a 16-inch styrofoam wreath form. And you can find these at your local craft stores. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you had fun making this wreath today, and I hope to see you again next time.